What's going on, guys? I hope you all enjoyed your weekend. A lot of crap happened during this weekend. Major news and moves within the price action. Uh, yeah, I went against my initial assumption, but you know what? I'm not complaining. Um, yeah, I'm gonna get really into it just on a granular level from the daily, and then kind of go zoom in into more intraday. All right, so. On the market cipher indicator, yesterday we had a buy signal, which is interesting from my perspective. With the money flow now kind of curving, wanting to curve to the upside. It's not like a definitive move, if you will. We are still below key resistance at 24.2, but I do think eventually we will at some point maybe hit like somewhere at maybe like 25.5 or something like that, somewhere around this particular range. In my opinion, I truly think that this will eventually break. This channel is becoming more and more of a solidification, if you will. Also, if you can really zoom in, the exponential moving average here is now turning into support, which is rather interesting. Top side is like all the way up at like 30K, 30.8K. So do I think it's going to tap it? I don't necessarily think so. There's a lot of resistance in this particular zone here, so that's tough. But I do, given as to what I've seen today, um, this is a bullish engulfing candle. So, oh yeah, sorry. I was kind of playing around with the design of my candles here. The see-through candles are bullish candles. The candles with bodies are bearish candles. Sorry about that. And I kind of added a couple of little more indicators here just for fun. But yeah, sorry about that. I forgot to update you all on that regard. Okay, so from a momentum standpoint here, um, yeah, we did get a buy signal 2 days ago in regards to these superscript sell signals, but at the end of the day, we do have a bullish engulfing. Heikin-Ashi candle is a flat bottom, so that's interesting. Now, if I see a candle close below 23, 23,068, then yeah, I would definitely be bearish. But at this time, I do feel that from a daily perspective, we'll eventually kind of play around at these higher levels. Um, Also, the TSI is freshly curving to the upside. There was some uh, choppiness this weekend, but ultimately, as it stands, the momentum is now expanding to the upside. Okay, so let me go to the MACD here on the daily real quick. Boom. All right. So we are seeing significant attempts by the bulls to maintain this positive momentum. This little wave, I don't think is the endpoint, in my opinion. I feel like there could be another wave to the upside and maybe like a potential lower low, something like that. So that's kind of to be determined. If I were to see a divergence on the daily, then I would feel very uncomfortable. But at this time, we did kind of get a bounce off of here. We got that higher low that the bulls needed to get in order to maintain just the positive momentum. Uh, yeah, but as long as price is above 23.155, still heading to the upside. We did get this curvature as well. Um, we did get a sell signal, and it was kind of short-lived here. Let me see. Yeah, it was right around here. So we did get, after that, we had 1, 2, 3. We had 3 days of bearishness after this signal here. Um, but after we broke above the 9 EMA on the daily, it was kind of that's all she wrote. Um, yeah, let me see here. The RSI is curving to the upside and still maintaining that positive momentum. As you can see, we've had multiple um, higher lows, and the bulls are continuing to print higher lows. So that's really impressive. I like it. I like it. All right. Let me just delete a few of these because it's gonna later affect what I'm gonna be looking into. All right. Okay. So the TMA. Now this is awesome. The TMA is looking really, really good. for an attempt to move to the upside here, potentially to even take out these highs. Um, of course, we're currently in a consolidation phase on lower intraday, but I truly feel like we're winding up to maybe even break above these certain key levels here. But yeah, this is exciting. Not gonna like hold back here. But on the 4 hour, there are a couple things that we have to be aware of on the intraday level. On the intraday level here, um, let me go to the market side for B indicator. We did get a fresh sell signal, but that doesn't mean that it is gonna just completely dumped to the downside here. Usually when we have an initial sell around these ranges, it could just be an attempt for relief to then ultimately kind of push until I see a legit bearish divergence, kind of like somewhere around here, which was back in the 29th of July. I won't feel too confident in, Bitcoin dumping like 8 to 10%. If anything, this is just a consolidation for a bounce off of maybe one of these moving averages here, possibly the 21. So on the 4 hour, it looks a little bit more noticeable here. Oh, hold on. Actually, yeah. On the 4 hour here, it looks a little bit more noticeable. Um, yeah, like here during the weekend, we got this inverse head and shoulders pattern. This inverse head and shoulders pattern literally broke out, I believe, last night. Yeah, and we have yet to back test it, so I'm thinking we might, still consolidate and try to test this. Maybe in a continuation of the downside, or maybe a 1.3% or something like that. But as you can see, and it looks better on the 1 hour, but this line of support right here it is kind of formulating, so I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe like a bounce in this zone at like 23.5K. That's something I am keeping my eyes on. But yeah, as it stands, top side 24.2 is still acting as strong resistance. But every time that resistance gets tested, it gets weaker. So what essentially happened was price completely avoided 21.5.6, which is, from the bullish perspective, this is great because I was, this bear flag, or it was initially looking like a bear flag, was, on the move to the downside, but it underperformed. There was a bounce at the 100 EMA. On the 4 hour in particular, there was a bounce here at this line of support at 22.5. I was expecting it to break, not gonna lie, just because from my perspective, I thought that we had an opportunity due to this 9 EMA cross. But during the weekend, price was just consolidating, and really there was some huge news that happened during the weekend. Essentially, BlackRock, which is one of the largest hedge funds in the world, definitely in the United States and in the world, they are teamed up with Coinbase, and essentially they're allowing their investors to now interface with crypto. So that was a huge flux of money. That was roughly around this time when that news broke out here, and it just completely changed the trajectory of the market. Because usually when these bands when these exponential moving averages, I'm going to turn off the candles here. When these exponential moving averages tighten up, usually it does the opposite of what happened here. So there was up and expansion, tightening, and then usually it's down and then expansion, tightening, and then flip flops and stuff like that. But no, after that news, it actually just completely boop, which is interesting because now the 100 EMA is acting as support, and the trajectory is now to the upside, which is phenomenal. That hasn't happened in a long time, long time, okay, since like all the way back here. So this is really interesting times. Now, where Bitcoin is nowhere near out of the woods, unfortunately. I do feel that roughly around like 25K will be an interesting pivot zone. I do feel that eventually that will get tested, and it will potentially cause a reversal. So we're still in this rising channel, which is a bearish pattern, a big bearish pattern. So I truly don't think the equity market and crypto market's out of the woods just yet. But yeah. All right. So as you can see on the TSI, we are curling down. Now the slow moving average is blue, so at this time, um, you got to take it in consideration that yes, this could just be a retrace to potentially create a higher low and then to continue to the upside and maybe hit to the over bought zone, which we haven't had that just yet, but I do feel that could potentially happen. Now, would this be a divergence? No, this would not be a divergence. So, nope, it could just be a consolidation phase at this time. All right, so I'm gonna check out the other indicators. Okay, so we are having momentum wane to the downside. This is the second bar on the 4-hour histogram. Sorry, the second bar here is showing waning momentum, so you got to give it to the bears for consolidating the price at this time. So the oh, sorry, here you go. As long as the TSI is below 23.723, we can expect prices to go to the downside. So it is essentially, let me put this here, let me put the yellow. All right, let me get that coordinate here. All right, 23.723 right there. So as long as price is below this line, we can expect prices to continue the downside. Now it's ever so slight and it's right near the 90 MA. There is a lot of potential support zones here. You know, the 90 MA being at 23.6. This neckline of an inverted head and shoulders here is at 23.5 roughly, and we even have like down here at 23.4. And also the supply line. So there's a lot of like we're really close to some zones of support. So it's really hard for me to think of this as like the pivot point. It could happen, as you know, if I see a 4-hour candle close below this supply line here, this support line. As long as I see price above this line, I am, you know, going to consider it a supply line and, you know, maybe get some long entries near it, at or near it, not financial advice. But yeah, let me go to the RSI. So the RSI is attempting to cross below the 4-hour, so that's interesting. And it did tap the bullish control zone for a bit, but it came back. Now, it does still have an attempt, it's still in the neutral zone, right? So I wouldn't be overly bearish when seeing this. If I were to see, you know, the RSI, you know, cross, you know, below the 45 mark, then I'd be a little bit more worried for the bullish momentum at this time, but not so much right now. Yeah, so as you can see, when the TMA broke to the upside, it never backtested the slow moving average as support, which is still a possibility. Now, there's also another possibility where it could completely break through. I will definitely keep you guys up to date in regards to that, but from my point of view, it just seems more likely for this to be a consolidation phase. As you can see, the bulls are still respecting this 23.7 range. It's super close to there it is. It's super close to the points of control. Essentially, this is like a pretty interesting pivot point. Ultimately, I would not be surprised to see an attempt of bounce around the previous resistance here, this red horizontal line at 23.523, or just straight up like 23.49. So this little zone I am kind of keeping my eye on. For a reaction, a pretty volatile one at that. Alrighty, so I'm gonna go to the 1 hour. I'm gonna go to, whoops, what did I do here? Okay, alright, so let me boom, right there. Okay, so on the 1 hour, we did get a sell signal roughly 12 hours ago. Man, some of the best moves happen during the weekend. It sucks to see, but at the same time, um, it's just so risky. It's very difficult to feel confident in the weekend from my perspective. I don't like doing it, but I'll be honest with you, like some of these whales, they make some crazy moves during the weekend. This pump was magnificent. It was also kind of news driven, but at the same time, whales were kind of a factor, uh, to be honest. All right, so money flow is actually, let me go to the Heikinashi here. There you go. So the money flow is thick in the green. I don't like uh, shorting when the money flow is just that thick in the green, nor do I like this. I like to see a trigger wave to the downside. So, I mean, we could possibly see a trigger wave to the upside. And frankly, that's where I do think that we are eventually heading, is eventually to the upside, in my opinion. Um, Let me see. So, like, if we could do something like this, for example, um, and kind of create a trigger wave on the 1 hour, I'd really like that. That trigger wave would be a really nice entry point from my perspective. Um, Now, it doesn't have to go that deep. It could actually go, maybe to like the -10 range and initiate a buy signal. But yeah, I would probably go with the 37-minute from my perspective. Yeah, which we are kind of we potentially might have a trigger wave actually in the next couple of hours. I'm gonna wait for it. I'm not gonna like what's the word? I'm not gonna like try to front run it. I'm just gonna wait for the move to come to me and it, and operate as such. At this time, I kind of like where I'm positioned at. I wasn't a short up until uh, this on the 37-minute here, but I'll get to that later. Okay. Anyway, let me go to the 1 hour here. All right. So yeah, we are getting expansion to the downside until I see some form of divergence, bullish divergence. I won't necessarily look for any longs at this time. The TSI, as long as the TSI on the 1 hour is below 24, as long as price is below 24.219, then you can expect prices to continue. And as you can see, there is somewhat of an expansion, so it's going to be very volatile and more so leaning to the downside for a little while longer. All right, as you can see, the slow moving average, which is this red line right here, is starting to curve to the downside, so that's another bearish indicator for the intraday perspective. As you can see, the RSI on the 1 hour is also leaving the bullish control zone and is attempting to cross below the 50 line. 50 line is a cross down, is pretty bearish. Um, but I mean, doesn't mean that it's over and done for the bulls. This could actually just be an attempt at a higher low situation. So, but at the end of the day, the TMA here actually was overbought significantly and has officially is officially attempting to cross under the slow moving average. So this is interesting to kind of play out and see as time kind of continues forward. Okay, yeah, going back to the candles. So last Friday, where I left you guys off, I was noticing a few things here. At first, I was like, okay, is this a bear flag? And it did look like a bear flag, frankly. And it broke to the downside. And that was a phenomenal trade on my end. Um, eventually closed my long, I'm sorry, my short in profit, thankfully. When I saw this engulfing candle, so I roughly got like a 1.6 profit. I was at 3% profit, but I got greedy and I was kind of holding it. And you know, I was just kind of like waiting. Okay, if I see a lower, I'm sorry, if I see a higher low, then I'm gonna be more inclined to close the long situation, which I did eventually consider this as a higher low, as you can see right here. Got a low, then we got a higher low, then we even got another higher low over here. And I wasn't really attempting to make a move or anything like that from where I was. As much as I would have loved to take in along. Um, yeah, it happened right on us. I believe it was like Sunday when this all kind of went down. So um, as beautiful as to see price go to the upside and to see my bags pump like 4.8% in a day, I do, realize that this move is it's like a fence built fast falls fast. You know what I mean? So as price pumps so hard and fast, it's falling hard and fast. So really at this time, it's just a better idea to wait for significant lines of resistance. I'm sorry, significant lines of support kind of show themselves. So going back to it, I do have confluence with my SR indicator, which is at 23.439, and then I also have the neckline of the pattern-based inverse head and shoulders. That is currently at 23.488. This particular line here is off of the indicator tool, so I'm going to close that out just so it doesn't confuse y'all. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, 24.2 is still holding as key resistance. It is a key pivot point in the saga of Bitcoin, or at least for the past couple months. And yeah, until it's broken, I can't consider prices up in this zone just yet. I mean, I'm chomping at the bit because really what I want to see is something more constructive. Um, it's probably like a test of this particular zone, and then a breakout, a pretty gnarly one at that, and then a back test, and then that's when I'd long really good, like get a good entry in that one and get a good position size as well. But that just hasn't happened. We're still in this choppy range. Friday was like super choppy, man. It was ridiculous. But at the end of the day, the weekend really did show its the Bitcoin price's cards. Ultimately, it was a consolidation phase, is a choppy formation. And inverse head and shoulders is a great it's a great pattern. It's a nice reversal pattern. This particular candle right here, this particular stick is the measured move of it. I was kind of hoping that it actually would break through and initiate a back test of 24.2 roughly, but it didn't happen. This particular move did underperform, so that's kind of unfortunate. But at the same time, you can't be mad at a 4.8 pump pretty much on the weekend. So as you can see, price on the 1 hour is consolidating below the 21 EMA currently at this time, so that kind of sucks, but we'll see what happens at the 100. All right, well, I'm going to leave it at that. I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this video. If you haven't already, please like, share, subscribe, and oh, also, yeah, if you guys, want any particular calls on like any coins that you guys want, just let me know in the comments section below, or like let me know what your opinions are. Do you think we're going to finally break 24.2 this week? Do you think we're going to actually break through the supply line at 23.4 roughly? Do you think we're going to break down? We're going to break up? What are your thoughts? Anyway, have a great one. Thank you for your time. Peace out. Bye.